Hey readers, I apologize. I know I said I'd have videos up every week on Tuesday. I know it's not Tuesday, but unfortunately I can't read every day. So, last week I reviewed Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451 and talked about censorship and the quintessential idea of burning books. Well, the book that I'm going to be reviewing this week actually has been burned. There were millions of copies that were destroyed in Nazi Germany. The book was written originally in November and December in a German magazine of 1928, and then it was later put into book form in 1929. It was translated into the English form later in 1929. The original German title was Nothing New on the Western Front, or Nothing New in the West. The English title is All Quiet on the Western Front. You may or may not have heard of it. It's a good book. It's kind of old. There was a movie made of it in 1930. That's how you know a book is old, when the movie's that old. But it's a fantastic story. It's a anti-war novel, but in the same statement that a friend of mine made when we talk about that concept of an anti-war novel, making an anti-war novel is like making an anti-cancer novel. No one is pro-war, right? But this is an anti-war novel that's very honest, and it's very simple, and it allows you to take the horrible but realistic things that these characters go through and make your own decision. All Quiet on the Western Front, it follows mainly a young German soldier in World War I called Paul Boehmer, and his friends Albert Kropp, Hay Westis, Frederick Mueller, Stanislaus Kaczynski, or Kat and Chaden, and a bunch of other guys. And they're all German soldiers. They're all young German soldiers, 18, 19, maybe 20 years old. And it follows their story, their experiences in the war, from just in the beginning where they're on the parade grounds, they're just training, they haven't been exposed to this new kind of war, this horrifying new war, all the way to the end where Paul is just, he's been so exposed to the horrors of this new war, this new style of war, that all of his hopes are gone, all of his dreams are gone, all of his thoughts that maybe this may one day come to an end, he's been ruined, basically. Which you could kind of assume from the idea that it's an anti-war novel. But the important part is how he gets to that point. Sometimes in the Better Book Review, if there's a passage in the book that's short and I think sums up the story very, very well, I'll read it aloud, and this is one of those occasions. This is a section from the middle of the book, when they're all of these groups are at the front line. And it says, "The morning is gray. It was still summer when we came up, and we were 150 strong. Now we freeze. It is autumn, the leaves rustle, the voices flutter out wearily. 1, 2, 3, 4, and cease at 32. And there's a long silence before the voice asks, 'Anybody else?' and waits and then says softly, 'In squads,' and then breaks off and is only able to finish, 'Second company,' with difficulty. 'Second company, march easy.' A line, a short line, trudges off into the morning. 32 men. So yeah, the whole point being, they've gone from 150 men until a couple months later, and 32, complete obliteration, which is entirely historically accurate. So many men were lost in that war. So yes, if you recall, we have the 4 levels of rating for the Better Book Review, and this book entirely deserves a capital G great. I know, I seem to have given these out a lot, right? I must read good books. Yeah, it's a capital G great. It definitely brings up the idea of what war and what tragedy and what complete sorrow and hopelessness can do to someone, and also the idea of something that's entirely still valid in today's society, of someone who has been exposed to combat, who has been exposed to these horrors. How do they adjust when they go back home? How do you adjust to someone who's like, "Oh, well, it can't have been that bad," or "Tell me how it was," or wanting to make you the hero? How do you how do you move back into your normal life? How do you go back to who you were before you saw all those horrible things and did all those horrible things? Yeah, I think that the biggest message of All Quiet on the Western Front that can be taken out without spoiling the story is that war changes people, and it makes people seem hopeless and like they don't matter, like they're just pawns, right? Yeah, so it's a great book, capital G great. Next week, if I can get my hands on a copy of 1984, I might be reviewing that book. Either way, if you have more ideas or if you have any comments about war and things about All Quiet on the Western Front that you enjoyed or you didn't like, leave them in the comments, and I will see you guys next Tuesday, hopefully. Have a good week of reading.